Hello out there in internet land. I was just going to make a quick recording here regarding something that I've been hearing now for a few months. It has to do with the wordage October 7th. Now, being a certified clinical hypnotist, I understand what the mainstream media is doing, along with quite a large number of alternative media personalities, so to speak, which I find to be very deceptive when they're using it in the context of what happened in the Middle East on October 7th. And I bring this up because I understand what the mainstream media is doing. They're being told to do this, but they're prostitutes, as Gerald Celente would say, and it's the truth. They are programming people. This is the same, it is the same hypnosis, mind control, mass mind control. One of the techniques involved in this is repetition. While you have someone under hypnosis, which they do anytime you're watching TV, listening to the radio, watching a YouTube video, within a few moments you go into a hypnagogic state. And they know this, and through repetition, they program your brain. And you're not even aware they're doing it. What they're doing is programming a whole generation of people, all of us that are alive right now. They are programming us to believe something about history, because actually right now they are making history, but it's not factual. Yes, there was something that went down on October 7th, and it was a very bad thing, but it was not the beginning, the way they're portraying this event as to been the beginning of this tension between Jews and a Palestinian. It's fake. It is programming. I want to set a foundation here very quickly. I am on this website. It is a German website, I believe. It is bpb.de, and the headline is Historical Development of Jewish Immigration by Jan Snyder. Got that out of the way. I mean, when it comes to history, there's so much BS, bullshit in history. It just is mind-boggling, especially people that have actually opened books and they've done some research. They know there is so much bullshit out there that is just not factual. I came across this, and I'm going to lead up to it. I actually have this highlighted here, but I just want to basically set the stage for what I'm going to try to say here. There was something that caught my attention besides what I had highlighted. Well, throughout this whole, I mean, very beginning, this author of this article is continuously using the phrase anti-Semitic when referring to certain things done against Jews. I'll clarify something. Jews are not Semitic, okay? Jews are probably anti-Semitic, but they are not Semitic, okay? So, but see, this is how the author of this article, while probably well educated and learned and knows exactly what she's doing here. I believe it's a woman. The name is Jan, but who knows? Man, woman, whatever, it doesn't matter. Throughout this whole thing, I mean, in this first paragraph alone, he or she is using the word anti-Semitic. There must be a half a dozen or a dozen just in the first paragraph. Okay, Jews are not Semitic, okay? They're very anti-Semitic, but they are not Semites. If I can see this again, let me see if I can find this. If not, I'll just jump right ahead to the part that I wanted to get to anyways. And bear with me. I mean, when I read some stuff, it's like, man, it just is so full of lies and totally inaccurate information regarding history. But if people have not ever opened up a book, they don't know. They're not aware of this. I don't think I can see that right now. It's unfortunate because I actually was wanting, because it also is a total ridiculous lie. It was talking something about the historical homeland of the Jews being there in that region in Palestine, which is so absolutely ridiculous, because those are Ashkenazi Jews that originated in Eastern Europe, not in the Middle East. See, this is how easily they can twist and distort history, and they do a damn good job of it. Alright, I don't think I'm going to be able to find that, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to jump in here, and this is in part of this article that this person wrote, and I'm just going to jump in and lay the foundation real quickly for this November 7th thing. Or was it October 7th, excuse me. The early 1920s, however, saw riots and at times armed conflict between Jews and Arabs, mostly over land issues, as well as between both groups and the British mandatory power in Palestine. Notice that they called the country what it was, Palestine. In the 1930s and the 1940s, there were civil war-like clashes increasing in magnitude after the United Nations Partition Plan of 1947, which proposed two states on the Palestinian soil immediately after the Declaration of Independence made by the Jewish National Council on the 14th of May, 1948. Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq declared war on the new state of Israel. The first Arab-Israeli war lasted over a year and led to massive displacement and refugee movements. Since the victorious Israel also conquered areas that, according to were to belong to the Arab state of Palestine. For some reason, my GoPro is shutting off again today. Whatever. I'm not going to get into it. If anybody that knows about technology knows that there are certain agencies that can tap into any device in your home, your cell phone, your cameras, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, it doesn't surprise me. So, here's the thing. Mainstream media and the way that they're trying to write history now is that this conflict between the Jews and the Palestinians started on October 7th of 2023. No, it began on in the year 1947, 1948, not 2023. But see, they keep repeating this October 7th thing. October 7th, 2023. They're writing history, but it's fake history. It's fake. Okay? Totally fake history. And I want to mention something about a statement made on the tarmac before Anthony Blinken was getting ready to board his airplane after his whirlwind tour of the Middle East, and then ending up in Israel, probably behind closed door meeting with Netanyahu, his cousin, which is very ironic. Sources are indicating that Anthony Blinken is a dual citizen with American and Israel. Don't you think that would be slightly a conflict of interest? He should have recused himself from any involvement in those negotiations. And another thing, why would they feel a need to be behind closed doors? What are they hiding? He's representing the United States of America. Wouldn't the American people have a right to know what's being said behind closed doors in their name? But oh no, because there was stuff being said that we have seen unfold since his first visit there. He should have recused himself from participating in any negotiations with that because of the conflict of interest with his dual citizenship. And as a matter of fact, I want to say something else with regards to this speech he's made to the press, was that he told that, and I paraphrase, he told the Israeli government that the deaths of the Palestinians was far too high. And my question to Anthony Blinken would be, hey, what is an acceptable number for you of the mass murder of unarmed civilians, almost half of them being women and children? What is your acceptable number? Because your statement clearly said the deaths of civilians are far too high, which would imply that a certain number you're good with. But see, I know about words and wordage and the string of words together, and you didn't say that no, just out of the blue. It was prepared beforehand. And you're a diplomat, and you don't get up there and you do not ad lib. These statements are prepared ahead of time, and you knew exactly what you were saying, and you said it for a reason, because there's a couple of things. You're trying to write a fake history, and you are also trying to make yourself into this moral being, which from the world can see it, you are not. But you're trying to see, you interjected that into that, and will probably become a part of history, that you made this quote about the civilian deaths are way too high, far too high. But what is one life? Where do you cut off? What is considered too high for you? But see, somebody like me, I know what you are doing, and it would be my guess, based on what South Africa has just recently done, filed charges with the international, what's that called? The international justice system or whatever, which of course is owned, invariably it has to be owned by the Jews, otherwise there would have been something done. But and the fact that it was last week that South Africa filed these charges of genocide against Israel. But see, no action is being taken by the International Criminal Court. They're doing this. They ain't saying, it ain't nothing. Jibberty Judas. If they was going to do something, they would have done it. The reason they haven't, and they do have jurisdiction, unlike the United Nations, the reason they're not is because they're bought and paid for by the Jews. And if Anthony Blinken, while he is not on a protected area like the United States or Israel or another country that is signed on United Nations, they should arrest that guy and charge him for alleged war crimes, because he stated from the very beginning that the country he represents, which is horseshit for the most part, because it is the United States government is backing Israel, but the regular everyday Americans are not falling for all of that. It is his policies that he's enforcing that is allowing this continued mass genocide of unarmed civilians, and his policies and his closed doors secret meetings with Netanyahu, which he is a citizen, apparently a dual citizen, if the information is correct. And they should catch him somewhere and let justice be served. Try him for alleged war crimes against humanity, mass genocide. If anybody's got the guts to do it, but see, apparently there's one agency really that has jurisdiction over that, and they're dragging their feet and doing lip service. Wah, 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 wah. And the reason being is because they ain't going to do nothing. They're not going to follow up on anything South Africa has to say, the charges that South Africa has brought against Israel for mass genocide, because they're owned by the Jews. They're controlled, just like the United States is controlled by the Jews. People don't like it. Don't call me a fucking anti-Semitic, an anti-Semite, because Jews are not Semites. Get your facts together. Jews are the ones that are anti-Semitic. And when you're gonna know when the ICC, when they arrest Blinken and many others involved in this, maybe Netanyahu and his war cabinet, and charge them for genocide and the killing of unarmed civilians and bombing hospitals, schools, protected UN shelters, bombing and killing rescue workers that are protected under the Geneva Convention and international law. When they do that, they're going to be doing their job. But you know what? It is of my opinion, now the United Nations, they do not have jurisdiction, but the International Criminal Court does have jurisdiction, and they ain't doing nothing, and they've lost their credibility. If there's any country in the world that still thinks that the ICC has credibility, well, I don't know what to say other than the fact that they got you hoodwinked, they got you under mind control, and it's very easy to put people under mind control. And as I said in the very beginning, it can be done through repetition over and over and over. All the mainstream media, what they are trying to do is, and the alternative media, these alternative media personalities are doing the same thing. I'm suspicious of them. I actually believe there's something dubious about it, frankly. But they're regurgitating, they're parroting the same thing, the same narrative. October 7th, October 7th, October 7th, October 7th, 2023. No, this did not begin then. It began back in 1947, 1948. What they're doing right now is programming people. They are writing history, and it's not going to be long before people are actually going to believe that this tension and this conflict, oh, I really don't care. Now my GoPro stopped again because it says it got overheated, got too hot. did this. It keeps doing this. They don't like what I'm saying. You'd have to be a targeted individual to understand what I'm talking about. If you're not a targeted individual, you'd have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyways, I'm tired of this thing cutting off, and it's this cut off 4 times. It cut off 3 times when it got to 10 minutes, and then this time it cut off because it said it overheated. Well, it was never doing that before. Anyways, somebody out there does not like what I'm saying, and if you think for 1 second that these powers that be cannot zero in on your